TG Tutorials.
I'm reliable. Hey guys, it's Matt here, and this is the first episode of TG Tutorials. And in this episode, I'm going to teach you how to connect your Roxio Game Capture HD Pro, that's very long, and I'm going to teach you how to connect that to your PC and stream PS3 footage straight to your PC. So let's cut directly to what you need.
The first thing you'll need is a PS3. As of this recording, they're going for about $100 to $200. But if you do just a little bit of digging, you can go under $100, but some of them, with shipping, it just ends up being over $100 anyway, so yeah. The next thing you'll need is your Roxio Game Capture HD Pro, which, I mean, duh. As of this recording, the prices for this capture device are really low, which is amazing for those who want to do Let's Plays on a budget. I mean, this thing going online right now, I've seen some for $20, I've seen some for $40, $60, $70. Now, if you're going for new, that'll be $100, but still, I think it's really cool to be able to do these Let's Plays on a budget. Coming from experience, guys, you're going to want to save money every step of the way when it comes to doing Let's Plays. Before you know it, things can end up getting pretty costly. I do want to mention, though, I do not have the CD listed here. I've actually lost my CD. However, if you do buy one without a CD, make sure, or you end up losing it before you install it, make sure that you do have the little slip that says your serial number, because that will work even if you end up finding a copy of the CD online itself, or if you actually end up finding the data online, and I'm not going to tell you how to get that, but if you can find it, I do believe if you have your original serial number, you can make it work. So if you buy one without the CD and you feel gypped, don't worry, as long as you have that little serial number slip, you might be able to still make this work. And the last thing you'll need are these PS3 component cables. These things are really cheap online. I actually just saw, as of this recording, I saw a posting for them for $4. High is about maybe $8 or $10. Now, do be very wary, be very cautious. There are some differences in quality depending on what kind you get. So definitely do that research before just buying the cheapest option. You may be getting what you're paid for. I bought mine for $10, and honestly, they are not the worst. They work my PS3 and my PS2. But I'll save the PS2 talk for another TG tutorial video. Now here's a better look at the device. As you can tell, it is a device. So here's where you put in the component cables and the HDMI. And on the opposite end, why, look at that, there's some more component cables, HDMI, and that little weird plug there, which actually comes with the system itself if you have it in your possession. And yeah, it's a little awkward, isn't it? It's a little weird.
Yes, I said component cables. Sadly, you are not able to connect your HDMI to your PC. As far as I know, if there's any other ways, tips, tricks you guys know, please post them in the comments below if you're watching this through YouTube. But as far as I know, there is no way to do that, and I don't honestly know why. I just know that it came in the instruction manual when I got the Roxio Capture HD Pro, and I know that I've seen all around the net that for some odd reason Sony did not allow you to do this. Anytime you try and use the HDMI both in and out with the PS3, it will say that it is not supported, and it is, I believe, a protected signal, which is a little frustrating, I understand, and I know that some of you guys want to get that beautiful 1080p picture, but sadly there's nothing we can do when it comes to that. I don't know if it's because Sony didn't want people stealing their stream, and maybe they had, thought of some kind of sharing service like they have with the PS4 with the PS3, but sadly there is no way to use HDMI cords with the Roxio and the PS3. So, tears.
Okay, so let's go to our Windows Start menu and start up Roxio. Alright, so you're going to want to go to Capture, not Edit and Share. The actual device does come with its own editing software built in, but I'm not a big fan of it. I used it earlier on when I started doing YouTube videos, and I just didn't really like it. So I've gone with some other video editing softwares, but if you want to use this, again, I mentioned earlier about saving some money, so if you want to use their in-house software, you can, and it might work for you. It just didn't work for me, so I wasn't the biggest fan of it. Alright, and here we are. You can see that it says live stream over here, but I don't know if there's other newer versions of the Roxio Game Capture HD Pro, but the version that I have of the Roxio does not support live function correctly. Now, many of you might be wondering what I mean by that. If you click on live stream, you're going to notice that Justin.tv pops up. It's not around anymore. The site's dead. It doesn't exist. So live streaming directly from the Roxio cannot be done. However, you could do other methods like using open broadcast software, which I'll get into in another TT tutorial episode, where you will be able to stream the footage directly from your computer screen. However, that does present some problems when it comes to live streams because, and I believe this happens in other ones as well, there is a little bit of lag, which is why you're never going to want to look directly at this screen, your computer screen, when recording your footage. You're going to want to look at your TV, monitor, whatever other monitor you're using, because this cannot be used as a monitor because it's just not going to work for you. Now you can see over here the source, there's obviously only one. Then this component right over here, component and HDMI of course, but remember you can only go in HDMI for other systems, not specifically for the PS3, because as I mentioned earlier, there's a problem with that with Sony. So you can't do that. The settings will only be at M2TS, so cool. The quality doesn't really change much if you go up or down. However, if you are having some recording issues, your PC can't handle recording at a certain quality, you can bring it down a little bit lower. And for me, this is the best quality because I have known to have some technological hiccups, some hiccups with the recording, compiling it after it's done. So there can be a problem with it if your quality is too high, depending on the kind of computer you have. If you have a high-end computer, put the quality as high as you want. Also, over here it says show info, so it's showing you this info, how big your file is, of course, how much time you have left on your computer. I don't usually care about this. What I care about is this, because the files that are created from this, usually, if I'm dealing with like a PS2 or a PS4 game, about 20 minutes can end up being about maybe a gig. Or even about a gig, maybe even half a gig. But when you start getting to 40 minutes, you start getting into a couple gigs. So you really need to be careful with how much space you have on your laptop, how much space you have in your life. I've noticed that I've had to, look to other uploading sites or getting larger and larger hard drives because of the amount of space that Let's Plays have consumed, both on my computer and honestly in my own life. Now you're going to want to go to Enhance Picture. That's if you want to work with their in-house tools to fix your picture. I would argue to not touch them at all, unless you're dealing with live streams and you want to enhance the picture a little bit, because the recordings can get dark. But I would suggest that if you're not dealing with live streams and you're just going to do things, edit them after the fact, I would suggest leaving everything as is and then working with it in your preferred video editing program of choice, and to just fix the saturation if need be, and to definitely fix the brightness there and not here, because it isn't the best. I'm just going to put it out there. It's not really that good. Also, if you want to go to Tools, you can go to Tools, click on Options, and here's where things get a little bit more interesting. So you can have it either at 480p or HD 720. I do notice a bit of a difference, but sometimes you might just, depending on what kind of game you're playing, if you're playing a PS3 game or maybe even a PS1 game, you might just want to stick to 480. However, HD 720 works as well, of course. Obviously, you got your hotkeys if you care about that, but again, if you're just end up editing the footage later and it's not live, I don't see the need for hotkeys personally. And again, the live stream is worthless. Remember that, everyone. It matters. But how about I stop talking and we actually look at some footage? So let's look at Crash Bandicoot 2 Cortex Strikes Back, which is actually another game that I've played on this channel that you can find Mappy's games from his childhood. But enough about that. Let's look at this footage. Okay, come on now. There you go. Oh, you look beautiful, don't you? You look gorgeous. Now, you might not be able to hear it through this recording. You can play the sound directly from your computer as well, but again, remember it's lagged, so you might as well just mute it on your computer while you're dealing with it on your television. And also note that you can click this right here to mute the preview audio, which will actually mute it not in your official... I just realized I'm recording through the microphone and you can hear all of that, so I just muted that off camera. Or off mic. But as you can tell, the footage is a little bit darker. So yeah, that's why I suggested that you should edit it manually outside of this, because look what happens when you actually change the brightness here. Okay, that's the worst that can happen, but let's just tone it back a little bit, guys. Yeah, as you can tell, it's overlaying it on top, and then it gives it this really weird... oh god, it just I can't deal with it. I have to reset. I can't. So as you can see, it's a little dim. I'm sure you can notice. But yeah, I mean, the actual game itself is going to run just fine. What I have noticed, and again, it might just depend on your PC, certain events may trigger some issues here and there. I noticed that in this game specifically, whenever I use exclamation points or large amounts of nitro, there can be some issues later on in the recording. But again, that might just be my PC and not the device itself.
And that about wraps things up. I hope that I helped you guys out. But if there is a problem with your recording device or with the PS3 or something or other, then please, if you're watching this on YouTube, post in the comments below and I will try to help you out as best as I can. But I still want to thank you all so much for watching. And I want to remember to tell you guys to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, or dislike and unsubscribe if you didn't like the video. You can go either way. It's up to you. See you next week with something completely different.